Hi friends, this is Aunt Effie's Books. So today I'm going to talk about a really cool book called A Short Stay in Hell. I'm trying to get the glare off of it. There we go. A Short Stay in Hell. It's by Stephen L. Peck, and I do have a picture of the author. Let's see, I get the glare off? There we go. Okay. So this book was published in 2009. It has 104 pages in it, so it's not a huge book, but it was very interesting and fun to read. The story begins with several people who are recently deceased. And they are sitting in a row. I think there were 5 of them sitting in chairs, all facing the same direction. And they were all looking at a very scary looking demon. They all seem really confused about why they're in hell. Oh, I wanted to tell you that behind the demon, who is in a big office chair kind of thing, there is a big, what looks like a window. And beyond the window is what you would consider a classic Christian idea of hell. People are in a burning lake of fire, they're screaming and pleading, they're being poked by sharp sticks, and it's very hot. Anyway, it's very scary. But one thing that comes out is that as the demon visits with these people, they say, is that where we're going? And the demon goes, oh no, I just put that there for fun because it's scary. It's just there to scare you. That's not where you're going. In fact, none of you are going to the same place. Each of you is going to have your own hell. Now, one thing that I was delighted by is that all the people there seemed confused about why they were going to hell. One woman had spent her life as an entomologist, and she didn't seem to me like she'd, caused a lot of harm in her life, but our protagonist had been a Mormon male, and his name is Soren. So we stay with Soren throughout the entire book. So at first, everybody learns that that there is a God, first of all, and that it's not the God that they thought it was. Everybody was wrong. And in fact, the God that's real isn't even known to Earth at all. And they don't really act in the book like it's a real big deal. There isn't a whole lot of time spent talking about what the beliefs are, or what that God's like, or anything like that. They just kind of are like, yeah, whatever. Well, you were wrong. You don't know anything about it. Moving on. So I thought that was kind of interesting and kind of fun, kind of delightful. So next, they learn that hell is different for each of them, and it's designed not as a punishment, but to teach them something, to help them grow. So the woman, because during the conversation with the demon, she says that she understands more about bees than she does about people. And so the demon goes, okay, there you go, and pushes a button, or I don't know, a lever, switch, whatever. Anyway, she goes to a hell that has something to do with bees. And then the attention goes to Soren. So when Soren was alive, Soren liked books. And so Soren gets sent to, I think they called it the Library of Babel. Anyway, Soren is sent to a library. And in order to leave the library, Soren has to find a book that tells his life story. So when he arrives at the library, he looks at the books on the shelves, and they're not so much empty pages, but all of the letters and how big the words are and the spacing, it's all random. So none of it makes any sense. Just a bunch of gobbledygook. And so it's all random, and it's very frustrating. So the library is not deserted. There are other people in the library, and Soren meets them and talks to them, and they work together to find books that have something in them that is a story. But another thing is that not everybody there in the library is nice. So that is interesting, and that does come into one of the storylines in the book. So love affairs happen there during the search for books. That was kind of hard for Soren, having been a Mormon. But as time went by, Soren realized, what I believed in wasn't real. So he goes ahead and allows himself to fall in love. He realizes he's not going to be reunited with his wife at any point and be the ruler of a world of his own, like his religion taught him. And so he just lets it go, and he has more than one lover while he's there, and they last for years. So at one point, we realize that they have to look for a long time as a group before anybody finds an actual word. That's how hard it is to find anything in these books. So it's very hard. People go insane and kill themselves, but they're already dead, so it doesn't do any good. The book moved along at a really nice pace. I enjoyed it, and it held my interest, and lots of events happened, and they unfolded nicely. I enjoyed the characters that were developed, but the book's only about 100 pages long, so there wasn't a lot of time to develop a lot of characters. But the characters that were developed, I did enjoy them, and I came to like them very much. I want to read one piece for you today. It's called The First Week in Hell. As always, when they look at a book and it doesn't have anything in it that is useful to them, they throw it over the side of a rail. And over the side of the rail goes down and down and down, and they never can find or hear or sense any ending to it. But each morning, the books are back on the shelf. So, as always, the books we threw over the rail into the great chasm between the two great bookcases were restored to their proper place on the shelves the next morning. Every morning we leafed through more books in hopes of finding our story, and then, after noting the consistent sea of random text, tirelessly heaved them over the side. It was getting discouraging. I had not found even a single sentence that made sense. Now, I have to tell you that I didn't like this idea of throwing books over a rail so that they would fall forever. I know that they got restored the next day unharmed, but it was something that bothered me, and it made me wonder if there was some kind of a lesson there about destruction. Like if there's not something in the book that's specifically for you and of interest to you and useful to you, then you throw it over the side into oblivion, symbolically. Maybe it's useful to someone or something that isn't you or isn't a human or that you can't even see. I thought it was just something that bothered me throughout the book, and I never did learn the answer to that, or if that had any meaning. Probably not. So I liked that hell was full of human emotions and issues, just like on Earth. Excuse me. One of the stresses that Soren suffered, and he suffered from this a lot, was that all the people were just like him. Same skin color, same accent. They were all American. There was absolutely no variety. And I found this really interesting because Soren had been a Mormon before he died. And I have found Mormons to be all the same. So yeah, there's a little bit of variety now, but other than, maybe a little bit of skin color variety, maybe a little bit of hair color variety, Mormons seem the same to me. But I just thought it was a very interesting contrast in the book. So it's a great science fiction piece, and I totally recommend it. It was interesting as hell. Get it? It's kind of a dad joke. Well, that's it for today. This is Aunt Effie's Books, and I hope that you are reading something that's really good. I am. Bye.